What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to 10-Minute Disciples. My name is Max.
I'm Josie.
I should have told you I'm going to do that. It's all right. And today's verse we'll be doing is on 1 John chapter 5, verse 14, which states, "Now this is the confidence that we have in him. If we ask anything according to his will, he hears us." What would you say your takeaway is from that verse?
Give me a quick moment so I can read
good.
it again.
No, you're good. You're good. How you guys doing? You guys doing good?
I think this verse strongly resonates with me a lot because it was funny. I was talking to Max earlier before we started it that I was literally doing my devotional time this morning and I was reading in Hebrews about how the Lord is our high priest and just like how he literally represents us when he goes before the Father and like he offers sacrifices for our sins, but like he is the ultimate sacrifice in the end. So like when the Lord sees like the Son like before him, like he sees like representation of us, but he also sees like the lamb that was bled and died for our sake. And just like the fact that and here it says and since we know he hears us when we make our requests, we also know that he will give us what we ask for. And I think that oftentimes we get so scared of asking the Lord for what we really want. Because there's like almost like disappointment of like, what if he doesn't? Like, what if I ask and I don't see what I actually want? And it's just like the fact that like, no, like that shouldn't be our mindset and we shouldn't come into agreement with that. But like the Lord genuinely hears us. And like we should approach him with this confidence of like, he is a good dad. And because he's a good dad, we can come to him with our questions and we can come to him with our like desires and stuff. Yeah.
I like to add on that actually because she talked about the verse right after that where it says, "And if we know he hears us, whatever we ask, we know that we have the petitions that we've asked of him." I like that because I think like you kind of were saying, I feel like many times we're kind of scared to ask what he wants for us, if that makes sense. Like we're scared to ask him just stuff in general because I think we want so much what we want to where I think there's a fear of hearing what the Lord actually wants for you. But if it doesn't line up with what you originally thought, you kind of are less grateful for it. Does that make sense? It's like, let me try and explain. Yeah. It's where you have something set so in your mind that you want so badly, so then you go to the Lord in prayer, but if he tells you something differently, you're kind of like, dang, it doesn't seem as good as you could have thought, but that's in your own mindset because you know the Lord, we all know this and we should really realize this, but the Lord has so much stuff better for us, even if it doesn't seem like that in the moment. Yeah. But I feel like we're so set on what we want. When he tells us something slightly different, or even drastically different, we're like, how's that gonna do anything? What's that gonna do? That sounds way worse than my idea. Yeah. My idea sounds better. And then I feel like sometimes we can often act in our own idea, then we realize the hard way it actually wasn't that.
No, that's good.
fruitful.
I think there's something that you said that I want to touch upon. It's like almost like the Lord, sometimes when we ask him, it's like, oh, like, well, the Lord answered in a different way than we expect him to. And I think when we come before the Lord, sometimes we put him in this box of like, if he doesn't do this, he's not a good father. If he doesn't do this, then maybe I'm just in the wrong. And I think that we label God as not good if he doesn't fulfill the expectations that we place on him. And I don't think that that should be the case because if you think about it, like the Lord's timing is so different from ours. It's like a different pacing in the way that we view everything. And like we're in a society where everything is like fast. Like we want everything like as quick as we can get it. But then like, no, it's like slowing ourselves down so our expectations can be aligned with the Lord. And when like the world is screaming and clamoring for your attention, when we are in alignment with what God prioritizes, and that becomes your priority, everything starts to slow down. And that you realize that this disappointment doesn't linger because you're in this alignment with the Lord. And you're like, okay, Lord, I'm trusting in your timing. Lord, I'm trusting in what you're gonna say with this. If I ask Lord, like, why isn't this working out? Like whatever the Lord's response is, to take it with grace and like not be disappointed that what you wanted and the answer that you expected wasn't what he said, to still come before him and be like, Lord, no, I trust you in what you're saying in that.
I like that because I think honestly, to add on that a little bit, I think we need to learn, like she was saying, to accept it with grace. I think we most of the time accept it with offense a little bit, you know? Like the Lord tells us what his plan is, and then we're like, dang, really? That doesn't seem that cool. That doesn't seem that good. We kind of get offended by it because it seems in our worldly, fleshly mind, we don't comprehend the things he wants for us all the time because it's way bigger than what we are. And it's like hard for us to wrap our minds around these things when they worldly seem way less than our big dreams, but we actually realize spiritually it's the best thing for us. Like one question I always thought of is if I could have everything I wanted right now, would I still be happy? You know, like if my own fleshly stuff, like everything I wanted, like let's say that was materialistic or of this world, if I had it all right now, would I still be happy? Probably not. Well, not probably not. I would not be happy. You know, like it's serious because then you strive for so much to where you get to the end of it, and then you're kind of like, what is there left? Yeah. Which is why I feel like the Lord's plan when it says again, going back to the verse, now this is the confidence that we have in him. I just love that part because it says so like sternly, I guess is the word, and like boldly that we have confidence in him that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. Yeah. And I feel like it's important to remember that he does hear us. There's actually a question I want to ask is, when was a time where you feel like you really felt the Lord heard you on something you were maybe asking for or praying for?
I think most recently, it was along the lines of like my family, and it's just like, I guess to be vulnerable, like there's just like a lot of like different pieces in my family where it's not like all unified. And for a long times, and for a couple of years, I've been praying to the Lord. I'm like, no, Lord, I want to see unity. I want to see this. And it felt almost like a disappointment that I didn't see it. And it was like, Lord, like maybe in this month. And I never saw it coming. And I was like, Lord, like, why isn't it? Like, I'm praying, I'm coming to you before this, but why am I not seeing the fruit of my prayer? And I remember like the Lord in that season just like teaching me that like, no, like even though it might not seem like anything is happening, that the Lord is still hearing your prayers and he's working behind the scenes. So even though you might not see what you expected to see, like the Lord was still moving. And like now, like to this present day, I'm seeing the fruit of my prayers. And I hadn't seen it for like years. And it just so happened like this year, I'm seeing the fruit of what the Lord has been doing that I hadn't been aware of. And I think that oftentimes, like we put God in this box and we expect things to look in the way that we want it to look like. But there's this dependency on the Lord that he grows in us, that when we don't see it, that we depend on him and we lean towards him. And there's this mystery in the kindness of the Lord that in the mystery we can depend on him. And because if like, imagine like the Lord would tell you like your future 4-year plan that you would really want. And the Lord told you it right now, wouldn't you go and do it like right now? But then like you would do it without him. So there's like this like kindness of the Lord that he withholds almost just like a little bit, but he doesn't leave you blind. Like he gives you like little steps and he gives you little acts of faith because it's in that faith that you depend on him. So like in that moment, like now I'm realizing that the Lord heard me the whole entire time. And I didn't realize it and I didn't see it, but I look back and I like see like, oh wow, the Lord had this time set up for that, or the Lord did this and I wasn't aware. And it's like when you feel sometimes that you are not heard is sometimes when the Lord is calling you to quiet yourself so you can hear him. Because he does hear you and he does listen to you and the Lord does love you and the Lord is caring for you. The Lord is a good father and he wants the best for you. But it's like, will you be willing to just sit with him? Because like, I don't know if that really makes sense. And I'm kind of rambling, but it's like, like the Lord hears you even when you feel like it doesn't. And like, it shouldn't be based on that feeling.
That's honestly a really good like description of like, I don't even know, like that's just a great example. I think because I hear people all the time, honestly a lot more than I would like to hear say, I feel like the Lord's just being really quiet, he's being really quiet, he's being really quiet. But I always believe like the Lord's never quiet, but like you were saying, you're always just, your mind's too loud. You won't quiet yourself, quiet your spirit.
Literally, crazy. But I was talking to the Lord about this one day and the Lord was like, Josie, like, am I not everywhere? Am I not always present? So it's not the fact that he's not talking. It's the fact that we are so like, we're surrounded by so much noise that we are the ones who take our eyes off him. And when we take our eyes off him, we can't hear him correctly, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, if you want to hear someone's like heartbeat, you have to be really quiet so you can hear it. But oftentimes, like, we're not quiet and we're not willing to sit in the stillness of turning our face back to the Lord and saying, no, Lord, I'm going to sit with you. Like, isn't that good?
Yo,
yeah.
That's pretty fire. I like that a lot because I like the analogy you do like with the heartbeat where you gotta be quiet to really listen and tune into it. That's the same thing with the Lord, like hearing his voice. I think some people are like, I don't hear his voice. But I'm always in my head, I'm like, the Lord just doesn't pick and choose when to stop talking. He always talks to us. Well, one, his presence is always with us. So just like your earthly father is with you, talks to you, helps you out, your heavenly father will do so much more. So why do you feel like, in some cases, I think there's a weird sense of pride to where you feel like you have to figure everything out so much yourself to where you think the Lord doesn't talk to you, so you have to figure something out yourself and you think you could do it better.
Yeah.
And again, just going back, when you think, or when people just think in general, the Lord does not talk to them, I'm like, maybe your just mind is too loud. Maybe you're focusing, like you were saying, on everything else that is a distraction. Because I've been in a season of just a lot of like distractions, you know, not necessarily bad ones per se. In a worldly sense, it doesn't seem bad, but spiritually it is bad where it can take me off course of what I have to do. And I think many times you have to really, honestly, it's like the verse, be still and know that I am God. Yeah. I've never understood what it meant to like just be still. I always thought like just sit down and not do anything and stuff. And like low-key made me lazy, you know what I mean? But he showed me being still is keeping your mind focused on him, which is, he showed me your mind being focused on him is having full surrender in him at all times. Like, Lord, what is your will? Oh shoot, I forget this ring. But it's like, Lord, what is your will for me today? Yeah. Lord, how do you want me to speak to this person today? Lord, how do you want me to counsel this person today? Yeah. How do you want to counsel me today? How do you want to speak to me or speak through me today, Lord? How do you want to do these things? Yeah. And let him talk to you throughout the day. I talked about this with CJ the other day, actually, but don't go into the Lord's presence with like a preconceived notion, because then you're seeking already what you want to hear. And then if you don't hear what you want to hear, then you're going to feel like the Lord's not talking to me. Yeah. Because you're so set on hearing what you want to hear. You're making the Lord's voice skewered to what you want to hear. And then you're acting like, well, this thing happened and it wasn't as good as I thought. It's because you were acting in your own will. Yeah. You weren't acting in the Lord's will. No,
that's literally so good. Also, like, as you were talking about it, like what you're talking about, I think that also one thing to realize is your identity. Like, even with this scripture, it says that he hears us whenever we ask for anything that pleases him. And since we know he hears us when we make our requests, we also know that he will give us what we ask for. But if we don't know our identity as children of God, as a son of God, as a daughter of God, then you won't be able to come and ask the Lord as a son. And I think about like you as a son to your father, right? Like, you can come to him and there's this ownership, but there's this like bond because you are a child before him and your father knows you the best. So you can come to him in all vulnerability. You can come to him with all authenticity. And if you don't know your identity as a child of God, then like you won't take like, what's it called?
Blessings or
no. Receive? Gosh, my Spanish brain is kicking in.
Oh, say it in Spanish, I'll translate it.
It's like boldly asking. Like, it's like if I was a daughter and I was asking my dad, like, Dad, I really want something, then I will go to him in full confidence, be like, Dad, I really want something, because I know that my father is good and that he will give it to me. But if we don't know that, then we'll be like almost like this meek child and we'll be like, God, like, will you please give it to me? But without taking authority. And like, we need to take authority of our identity when we go before the Lord and know that we are sons and we are daughters and we can ask of this and the Lord is going to be good and kind. And if he might not answer it the way that you want to, it is still the kindness of God. Yeah.
I think it reminds me of like the verse where it's like, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind. And I think we think that a lot for like the things that are evil in this world. But also I feel like when it comes to going into the Lord's presence, he hasn't given us a spirit of fear. We can ask things boldly. He already knows what's on our heart. I'm always so real with the Lord, and I'm telling people, you don't go into the shower clean then come out dirty. You know, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you don't go, like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like the same with like the Lord's presence. You don't go in clean then come out dirty. Yeah. You go in clean, you come out cleaner, or you go in dirty, you come out clean. Like, it's like, you don't go out of the Lord's presence having less or lacking something. You may get a conviction, but you're actually gaining more. So I don't think you're lacking. I think it's of course we have to have the fear of the Lord, but I think we're so scared to ask him things or even like hear what he says, and it's like, guys, why?
Yeah.
What are we so scared of? He ain't gonna, I mean, if we got what we deserve, we'd always be smited down by now, but he loves us so much to where he's willing to talk to us, dwell with us, sit with us for as long as we need to, not as long as he needs to, because he's there all the time. He's willing to talk to us and sit with us and dwell with us as long as we're willing to.
Yeah.
So maybe the issue you're having is you're not willing to sit with the Lord. Every video I've done always goes back to dwelling with the Lord, because
so important.
We can only give so much advice and answers to where only the Lord can tell you guys what to do.
Yeah. Or even like on that note, it's like, what do you, wait, let me make sure I phrase this right. What do you need to ask of the Lord, basically? Like, what is something that maybe as you're like watching this video, you're like, you know what? Like, I actually need more joy. I actually need more peace. I need more confidence. Lord, I'm feeling not loved. I really need to feel loved. And like, these are questions that you can come before the Lord. And as a son, as a daughter, you have the privilege of this. Like, the Lord invites you to his table, invites you to his presence. And like, we've talked about so many different things about like the stillness with the Lord, about expectations, about identity. And like, when you come before the Lord, it's like everything just like fades away. And it's just like you with your creator, you with your lover, you with your groom, who's gonna sit across from you at this table, and he's saying like, what do you want? And like, you're there, and like, you can be a child before the Lord, and you can be like, Lord, like, I'm really struggling with this. Lord, I really need this. Or even like good things, like, Lord, this happened to me and I'm so grateful. And it's this living this life with Jesus, and it's being in the stillness as you're going throughout your day. And it's just like, we need to remember that we have access to this King. We have access to this lover who is pursuing you in a way that sometimes we might not realize it. But like, he's calling and he's beckoning us to come before him, to sit with him, to be still with him, and to know him. And it's just like, okay, like, what, like, how, like, if I was like, even like now, like, we're asking questions, right? And it's you and I. But it's the same way that we can go before the Lord. And we think that we have to be like, oh, like this perfect person. But like, no, like, it's literally just friendship, and it's relationship with the Lord, and that's what he's asking us. Yeah.
She said it best. I ain't even gonna lie. I mean, I have nothing else to say. That was really good. That is perfect little bow on an episode. But we're gonna wrap it up here, guys. We appreciate y'all so much for watching. Make sure you tune in for weekly episodes. And yeah, Jesus loves you.
Woohoo!